same for you, ain't got it though. Talking like you got it, that's a problem, I might let them know. Squeeze you like I'm Elsa, so my let it go. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Head to toe, said you got
Man, so then I did a crossover. Look, you can call me the earthquake because I shook everybody. Man, I'm telling you, all three defenders fell down. Hey, I gotta go. I'll tell you more later. What's up?
Bro, what are you telling people about the story, about the basketball thing? The earthquake move? You're not telling the whole story. Remember how the game ended?
What?
Yeah, like, we were supposed to win the game and you were doing your crossover and you're staring at your opponent while I'm under the basket trying to win game point. What did he do? Stare at him, jack your three, and did you make it, bro? No. They rebounded, put it back in, they win. You're not telling the whole story. You're not telling the whole truth. Remember now? Bro, wide open. Wide open.
Welcome back, you guys, to week 3 of the Legends Experience. It's great to have you guys.
Yeah, we are so proud of you all for all the work you've been putting in. And come on, let's give them a hand, Steve. We're so proud of you guys. Why do you have that?
I don't know.
Okay. Anyway, we hope you all have been able to tune into our Night of Legends on Wednesdays and tune in now for some highlights from the past 2 weeks.
In this time, how does that verse give you, Travis Jankowski, the man and the baseball player, hope?
Yeah, for me, I mean, anything that Jesus says in the Bible is a promise. You know, there's no doubt. It's not oh, well, yeah, you know, he kind of said it, maybe he didn't mean it. No, but what he said is truth. And I firmly believe that. So whether, you know, before the coronavirus phase of our lives or, you know, after the coronavirus phase when all this is said and done, for me, it doesn't matter, man. God gave us peace, God gave us hope, and God's going to continue to carry us through as long as we rely on him and trust in him. Baseball is a frustrating sport. There's a lot of failure in baseball, and for me, I do my best to not take the game home with me and take the game into my, you know, identity as a person. You know, I always say baseball is what I do. It's not who I am.
We're training for a season that we hope's going to happen, but like you don't really know. And I don't know about you guys, but I mean, I've been training hard for 4 months, and like I check the news and it's like, maybe the NFL's playing, maybe they're not. They're fighting over this, they're fighting over that. I'm like, man, I really just want to play. Like I've been working so hard. Like what if we don't play? I feel like I wasted all this time working out, like getting ready. It's hard, and I'm sure a lot of you guys kind of feel the same way. Some of you probably did miss your seasons. Some of you looking forward to fall seasons here. But my verse that I really love that encourages me is Galatians chapter 6, verse 9. Galatians 6:9 says, "Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." One thing I learned was that, you know, when you're in those uncertain times, those struggles, those trials, that surrender and control of your life to God and trusting in his sovereignty is just so important. And that's really that the secret to persevering during a time of uncertainty and waiting is found in Luke 9:24, which says, "If you try to hang on to your life, you will lose it. But if you give up your life for my sake, you will find it."
Once I broke my foot and got in this, you know, Bible study group, which if you would have told me, you know, a year before the injury, hey man, you'd be in a Bible study group, I just said, yeah, you're nuts, man. That's not for me. That's for everyone else. I'm good on my own. So when that happened and I got in this Bible study group and realized that, you know, leaning on other people, you know, who are Christian and who are great people that you can rely on and bounce questions off of and kind of grow your faith in and fellowship in together, that was something that, you know, it opened my eyes to a whole different world of Christianity and getting to know the Lord. So that was like the biggest kind of eye-opening God movement in my life at that time.
And that's really that the secret to persevering during a time of uncertainty and waiting is found in Luke 9:24, which says, "If you try to hang on to your life, you will lose it. But if you give up your life for my sake, you will find it." The path to peace is one of surrender, and trying to hang on to our life or our career, our desires over God's desires, it brings anxiety and it brings fear. And letting go of it so that God can use it for his kingdom purposes ultimately brings joy. And
it's James 4:7, and it says, submit yourself before God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you. It's not money you chase after. It's not fame that you guys chase after. Chase after God, and you'll have more fulfillment than anything in your lives. And I think the best part of that scripture is that, you know, it's a promise, like I said, from God earlier that, you know, submit to, you know, to God, resist the devil, and the devil will flee from you. I can't imagine a life any better than the devil not even being in it. So, yeah, that's my encouragement.
What a great message from two elite athletes. Be sure to tune in Wednesday night at 8 o'clock for Night of Legends.
Yeah, and if you've missed any of the Night of Legends or any other videos, you can go to our YouTube channel and you'll find what you need there. Just type in FCA Legends and you can get caught up. Steve, what are you doing?
Now let's turn it over to Dio.
What's up, everybody? We're back again. It's your boy Dione. We're in the third week, and I got a question for you. Has July flown by for you, or is it going slow? Usually people are in two different camps. Either you're in the camp that's like, man, it's going by so fast, or some of you are like, oh, July, when can we get to August? We're all probably like, slow down, summer, come on. Like, we aren't ready to go back to school and we want to enjoy this. How you're enjoying your July, hopefully it's been a good one and your experience and the Legends experience has been awesome thus far. If you're here for the third week, it's going well. And we're hoping that all of you make it to the last week because it's going to be killer. Can't wait to get to the last week to celebrate with getting through this awesome experience together. So we've been talking about 100, keeping it 100, right? All the way live, keeping it 100. So we talked about God and that God sacrifice, 100% sacrifice for you. And then we talked about surrender. That was all about you surrendering your life to God. Now we get to talk about surroundings, your surroundings. So I got some statements when I talk about surroundings, and the surroundings I'm talking about usually is not about your environment. I'm talking about who you surround yourself with. That's right, your friends or your so-called friends. Like, how's that work? Like, I know this about friends. I know this statement. Let's see if you can finish the statement for me, all right? Teamwork makes you said dream work. I heard you. You said it. All right, what about this one? How about this statement? You are who some of you say you are who you say you are. I'm not saying that. I'm saying you are who you hang out with. The kids that I work with, they hear me say that all the time. You are who you hang out with. And the last one, this is one my dad used to say. He used to say, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. If you show me your friends, I can pretty much show you your future because your friends have an impact on you. Who you hang around, who you decide to associate with has an impact on you, especially if you're a follower of Jesus Christ. Notice I didn't say Christian. See, Christian, I feel is a little easy to say. Like, I'm not saying don't say Christian because that's a way we recognize each other, but I'm saying a follower of Jesus Christ. Like, I'm not just a Christian. I'm not a checkbox. I follow Christ. And in following Christ, what is important, what is huge is who you associate with, who you hang out with. See, if you read the Bible and you read through it, you understand that Jesus, he hung out with a lot of sinners, a lot of people who were on the fringes. They were disenfranchised. Like, no one wanted to kick it with them or nothing. Like, Jesus hung out with them. But who he rolled with, who he called his homeboys, his friends, were these 12 dudes. And these 12 guys changed the world. And so for a lot of us, this COVID-19 thing has been probably good because it's changed who you hung out with. You may have been hanging out with people you're like, he's probably not the best, but this is who I got. Or you may be saying, I'm missing my close group of friends, my close friends, and this whole stay-at-home order has messed things up, and I'm on a wayward path because I'm not around the friends that this is what we're talking about today. Teamwork. Talking about who you associate with, who you surround yourself with. Now you look, I've told you some stories and I got some more to tell you because I want you to know more about me. And I have some stories about surrounding and teamwork. The first one, when I was in the fire service. All right, so I was in the fire department and we were at this house fire, right? And this house was fully engulfed. Like, imagine a house that's just roofs on fire. And our position for this team, we came in on the third engine. For us, the third engine was called RIT. You were the RIT crew, R-I-T. What does R-I-T stand for? Close. R-I-T stands for Rescue Intervention Team. We were the crew that would go into an atmosphere, a dangerous atmosphere, and rescue a downed firefighter. That was our whole crew, our whole responsibility. That's what we did. So we were the eyes and ears for those focusing on the emergency. We were focusing on those who were focusing on the emergency. So this is what we were doing. We all stood at there's four of us in a crew. We all took a corner of the house. And so we had 4 points of way of looking. I look left, I look right. Another firefighter's looking left and right. And we're just checking everything out, looking at fire conditions, wind, trip hazards, all those things, making sure everybody's safe. So I'm walking, looking at the building. I'm standing what we called the Delta corner. I won't tell you why, but I'm standing on this corner and I'm watching the fire and the guys are putting it out. And there's a crew who is breaking windows on the second level with the pipe poles, a long pole. They're breaking windows to exhaust more of the smoke out of the building to cool the house down. So they're doing their job. And as they're doing it, I see the facade of the house. I'm like, is it leaning? So this house was a huge house, but it wasn't a brick house. It had a facade, like it was made out of wood, but it had like decorative bricking on the front of it. And so it was held together by wires and bolts. Well, when fire gets there and gets hot, those start to give way. And so I'm looking at this front of the house starting to lean. And I'm like, am I? And I start moving towards them. And I point to my captain. I'm like, I think the house is falling. And he comes trotting over. And firefighters don't run. They walk with urgency, with pace, because running excites people. So he starts trotting over. And I'm like, as it's happening, it sure enough is leading. And I start yelling to the crew who was under this facade, breaking windows. And I say, move, 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 move. And this is what they train you. When you're in the fire academy, they say, when anytime somebody tells you to move, move. Don't ask, don't look. Everybody just move. Somebody's telling you that for a reason. So 3 of the 4 guys do that. They just move. They all just scatter. There's always one guy, right? There's always one guy. He's like, why? Why should I move? And as he's standing there, the captain of that crew who's moving by, the officer, literally grabs him by the collar and pulls him away in the building, the front of the building, the front of the house. And, he gets scolded, just move, what are you doing? And we get over, everybody are good, everybody all right? They close the fire ground down and everybody's safe. Teamwork. If I wasn't part of the team, if I was doing my own thing, if I wasn't trying to be part of the team, somebody's life could have been lost or injured. And the goal for a firefighter is everybody goes home the way you came in, safe and sound. Teamwork. Who you surround yourself with. Like-minded, one purpose, one mission. I love team chants. I love it. I'm a character coach. I love team chants because they're all on the same page. I love it. There's one of my favorite ones that comes out of the Soccer World Cup, man. We're going to show a clip of that. Check this out. This is my favorite chant. I believe that we will win. 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 I love that chant. I believe that we will win. I'll become a soccer player over that chant. I've never played a game of soccer in my life, but I'll become one because I love when you're on one purpose, one mission. When somebody they got your back. This other story I have, man, was when I knew my friends had my back. So I grew up as the good Christian kid, right? I was the good kid. I was literally called Jesus boy. And my 10th grade year, I hated it. My 11th grade year, I embraced it. I was like, oh, they see Jesus. Awesome. But I owned that term. And I was like, cool, that's fine with me. But there's some things I didn't get to experience because I was a Jesus boy. Like I had never been to a house party, ever. And I was approaching my senior year. I'm never going to go to a house party. Like, I want to go to one. And so there was one happening, and I'm like, I want to go. And I told my parents about it, and some of my teammates who were going, who my parents, thought they were good kids, and they were, they're like, okay, you can go. But I had some of my teammates that were either one or way. They were either saying, come on, Bolding, come on, Dione, come and see. Like, we want you to experience this. And I had others of my teammates who were like, that's not you. D, that's not you. They called me, D, that's not you. You shouldn't go. And I'm like, no, I want to go. And they're like, I'm telling you, this is not you. Like, be the good Christian kid. Like, don't go. And I'm like, no, I want to experience it. They're like, all right. So we went. And literally within the first 5 minutes there, I was like, I don't belong here. No, this is not for me. I literally walked in the house, walked around, walked back outside and sat on the porch. I was like, what am I doing here? And now I'm like, oh no, I'm getting all this judgment. Like, people are laughing at me. And my teammates who weren't Christian come to me and was like, see, I told you. We got your back, bro. Just go be who God called you to be. Like, don't come to these. These are good. And I'm like, I just want to go home. And they're like, you need your cell phone? And at this time, I didn't have a cell phone. One of them had a cell phone. Called my dad. He came and picked me up. But they had my back. They were like, Dione, this is not for you. This is not for you. This is not who you are. And the last story is this. My senior year in high school, I had best friends. Let's call him D. My name's D. His name starts with D. Call him D. And we were two opposites. I was Jock High School captain football team. And the other D, he was a skater kid. Like, straight up skate kid. But we were best friends. If you saw me in school, you probably saw him. We were two polar opposites, but he was a believer Christian, best friends. So we're sitting at the breakfast table before school. We're having sprinkled chocolate donuts. Bomb, so good. And I see a kid walking up to his name's Dustin. I already said it. His back is turned towards and this kid walking up and he's like, Dustin, yo, you drove today? He said, yeah. He's like, look, let me put my book bag in your car. I'll give you $50. And I'm like, we both look at each other like, what? $50? He's like, you gonna give me $50? He's like, yeah. He's like, but what's in your book bag? He's like, I'll give you $50 if you let me put my book bag in your car. Dustin looks at me. I look at him. I'm like, I don't know, bro. And the other guy, other kid's like, I'm not talking to you. He's like, you gonna give me $50? He's like, yeah. He's like, bro, it's $50. I'm like, I wouldn't do it if I were you. He's like, bet. They walk outside, put the book bag in his car. I kind of go to my class, come back to lunch. Dustin and I ate lunch every day. Dustin's not there. I'm like, oh, I don't know where he is. Long story short, the guy comes up with Dustin. He's like, Dion, someone broke into my car. And I'm like, you know that times where you want to say, I told you so? I didn't say it, but I'm like, he's like, I'm like, oh man, I'm sorry, bro, your car. He's like, no, they broke the window and they stole the book bag. I'm like, oh. And he's like, we know who did it. Come on, let's go. And I said, what? He said, come on. Like, come on. I said, no, I'm not going. He literally looks at me. He's like, this is like, either you're coming or not. Like, this is it. Like, you down or you're not. And I'm like, bro, I'm not going. I had to make a decision right there. I knew what that meant. Like, I'm going to lose my friendship with my best friend. He said, you not coming? I said, no, I'm not going. This doesn't involve me. He's like, I see how it is. Walked away. And right there in the lunchroom, I lost my best friend because we were not on the same team. We were not on the same path. And I went through high school. It was hard losing my friend and us going different paths. My question to you is, who do you surround yourself with? Because as believers, you probably got people in your life that you're like, they're probably not the best. Coach, who do you surround yourself with? Are there people who are like-minded, who want the best for you, who want you to see Jesus work in your life, want to see that you do everything that God wants for you? Or are there people who seek self? Because this is what it says in the Bible. It says this in Philippians. Philippians 2:2 says this. It's on page 1047 if you're looking in your Bible. It says, then make me truly happy by agreeing wholeheartedly with each other, loving each other, working together, one mind, one purpose. Paul, the writer of this, he says, you want to make me happy as him being a pastor, as him being a leader to them? You know what makes me happy? When you guys are wholeheartedly in agreement about what God says and what God does. Wholeheartedly. That's what makes me happy. One purpose. To be what God says. To live as God says to love. To love as God says to love. But there are going to be people who don't do that. Who are going to be a hindrance to you to do that. And this is where the work starts. Yes, for those who said the prayer and said, I need surrender. I surrender my life to God. And you are a new creation. The old is gone. The new has come. You're a new woman. You're a new man. Yes, but now there's work. There's work to be done. And God has it for you to be with a group of people who are one mind, one heart, on purpose, on loving God and loving others the way He's called us to do it in His Word. Because when you do that, something amazing happens. I will leave with this. Something amazing happens. It says this in Acts chapter 2. Acts chapter 2 talks about what happens when people are on the same team and the same mind, same purpose. It says this, Acts 2, and this is page 936, Acts 2, verse 42 to 47. Check this out. How many times it says all? All the believers devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and fellowship and sharing meals together and to prayer. And a deep sense of awe came over them all. And the apostles performed many miraculous signs and wonders. All the believers met together in one place, sharing everything they had. They sold their property and their possessions and shared the money to those in need. They worshiped together in the temple each day. They met in homes and shared the Lord's Supper. They shared meals with each other in great joy and graciousness and generosity. And with all they had, they praised God, enjoying the goodwill of all the people. And each day God added to their fellowship, to those who are being saved. God wants us all to be together. Surround yourself, coach, athlete. Who are you surrounding yourself with? I'm going to ask you a question and end with this. If I ask you a question, what name pops in your mind or people that you're saying they're a hindrance to my relationship with God? If there's a name that pops up, is there a group of people pop up saying they're not for me? I don't know who that is, but I encourage you to pray. I also encourage those who maybe didn't take the opportunity, maybe saying, I feel like last week I should have prayed this prayer that you prayed, Dion, saying surrender. Before I get to the friends thing and that, I need to surrender to myself. If that is you, you have an opportunity now. You still have opportunity all week to do this with your huddle leader in this experience. But you can pray the prayer that says, God, I accept that I'm a sinner. I believe that Jesus died for my sins and was risen from the dead. And I confess that with my mouth that he is Lord. And by doing so, I give my life to God. By doing this prayer and saying this prayer, your eternity is forever changed. You can text to this number. Send a text message to this number. We'll send you resources. Tell your huddle leader about it. Tell somebody that you have given your life to Christ, that you made a decision. And if there are friends that you need to change your surroundings as much as you can control, speak it. Pray on it. Let it mess with you. Because God has something great for you. And he wants to put the best people in your life to make that happen. Be blessed. Yeah, I'm excited for you. We got one more of these. You guys be pumped up. And I will see you next time. Peace.
Thanks, Dione. It's important that you know who you hang around. You have to be deliberate about who you have in your close friends.
Yeah, and we acknowledge that this is not going to look the same for everybody. We know that there are some of you who are really new to faith, and we really want to push you to seek out those friendships with other followers of Christ so you can continue to grow in that way.
Yes.
And part of what that means is kind of maybe avoiding some of the relationships that might take you on the wrong path. But we also know that as Christ followers, we're called to be friends with people who aren't on the same paths as us. So we don't want to discourage you from doing that, but we really just want you all to be wise in how you choose your friends and who you're allowing to influence you as you continue your walk with Christ. All right, everyone, it's time to announce our winner from last week's... Steve, enough with the hand, bro. Anyway, here's our winner from last week's challenge.
All right, everybody, this week's video challenge is, can I get a drum roll, please? Sports stereotypes. If you don't know what we're talking about, go check out Dude Perfect Stereotypes.
Yeah, we're excited to see what you all submit. Tune in early next week for that. And now it's time to go to your huddles. We'll see you next week.